going to have a look at this. This is standard side control. I want to have my hands on the inside position because I want to have what we call a workable space. I definitely don't want to have my hands on the outside. I'm going to come to this a bit later on during the week anyway. So hands on the inside position. I bring my feet in. Now this is the hardest part about the move is I'm not ever going to push my partner down onto my hips if I'm trying to move my hips. It's one of the biggest things I see is people push, they try and move and basically her hips locked onto my hips. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to do a bridge, but I'm doing what I call a hip thrust. So what I mean by that is as I bridge, I push Emma over so her weight's kind of coming off me. This is the second biggest misconception is I don't push my partner. I put my frames in place, I move, I bring my leg through. Right, so I can't push my partner any further backwards because her butt's on the ground and her knees on the ground, so I'm not going to be able. So I see people like that, they're trying to push, and what happens is Emma just simply rolls into me and my back goes back onto the ground. So this is really important that I'm hip escaping away and I'm using the space that I have. I'm not trying to push them backwards. So again, start off in the inside position. My knees come together, my feet come together. I bridge, and at the pinnacle of the bridge, I turn, put my frame system in. So I'm not grabbing, move my hips away, bring my leg through, and frame off the top. Ideally, what I'd like to do from here is I'd like to bring my second leg through, but has no purpose because if she crushes it or whatever like that. So I normally leave my leg on the outside, and this will allow me to start to move. Beautiful thing about it is I already have hip control and I've got shoulder control. So what Emma's going to do instead of this is she's going to drop her right hand down to the inside of my hip. Just there. And this will deny me getting any further of the guard. So instead of going an overhook system, she brings her hand to the inside of my hip and just blocks us out from here. Really important. Okay, one more time. So the hand to here. Right, so it kind of goes between us. One more time. So the inside position. See my bald spot? Okay, so from here is bridge, 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 pinnacle, turn, 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 frame. Move my hips away, bring my leg through, frame. Emma's going to block this out, but it has to be out by my hip, not by my leg. Really important. It has to be by the hip. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Go. Emma. So we're going to have a look at this. And one of the things that we want to do is, from side control position, we want to move as far away from the legs as possible, with the exception of going to mount or back control. So from here, once again, is as I go, bridge at the pinnacle, turn, push, knee, smashes her right hand through on the inside. Now think about it this way, to stop the legs coming through, Emma's going to drop her right hip to the ground, and from here. This is one of the most common things where Emma's put her weight backwards to pick up my arm. The downfall is she's actually taken a post out. So what we're going to do instead is her right hand's here, her right hip's down, her left hand's going to swing over my head. Yeah, to flatten me out. So this is a far better option than trying to pick up the arm because it does flatten my arm out as well and puts me in a position. As a general rule, I'm going to try and roll to my side. I'm not going to give my back exposure, so I'm not going to roll to my left, I'm going to roll to my right. So as I'm here, as I roll to my right, and it comes around the top from here. Now, this is the part that made a huge difference to the controllers. I have the ability to use space behind my back, in front of me, and with my hips. So even if Emma gets a grips on me, I've got the ability to be able to move off. I can control which way I move. So what Emma's going to do, she's going to drop her chest down behind my shoulder and drive into me to make me post. If I don't post, I go belly down. Okay. And again. So from the side, hands on the inside, my feet come together. So as I bridge at the pinnacle at the top, turn, move away, knee. Her hand comes through, drops her right hip down. So that stops me from getting my guard back through because her bum's in the way now. Does that make sense? As I'm framing, her elbow's going to come over the top from here and she's going to walk to north-south. I'm going to try and get around, so as I try and turn from here, shoulder goes behind it. And what you're going to find is that I can't roll backwards anymore. If I don't post or I don't put a frame system out, I'm going to get rolled belly down. So they're generally going to post. This does two things which is really annoying. It's too far to give wrap. Because my hand's out too far to, and you don't want to kind of take your weight over my shoulder because now I've got the ability to try and turtle. So I want to keep the weight behind me. But the second thing is you want to make sure that you're turning me 45 degrees, so you're kind of turning me belly down, so I have to post. If you try and drive me down towards my legs, I've got the ability to slide my back to the ground. Okay, so we're pushing 45 degrees, not that way, 45 degrees this way to keep my body turned. And that just person on the bottom, just have a little bit of a play around. If you find that they can move, it's because your weight's too far on top, so drop your chest down behind, hold the shot. And this will mean that I have to frame. Anytime that you see the hand move, you start driving a little bit further, I'm going to end up putting them belly down to the ground from here. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Pretty good for the finishing position where Emma's side back and pressure onto my shoulder. And this is kind of one of the new concepts is we don't have the ability to do the gift wrap or the arm wrap from here. So what we're going to do is keep the pressure, and then as I try to post, we're going to take our top hand's going to grab our bottom elbow. We're going to pull that through as tight as we can, and then your top hand's going to grab, your bottom hand's going to grab your top elbow. Now, the concept on this is the more that you pull up towards me, the more I have space to be able to move. So you're trying to take both of your elbows down as deep as you can into the belt from here. So this is pretty much choking me already, and I don't want to be, so as I try and turn, Emma's just going to sit me up. Sits me up, and then she can go hips and back control and squeeze to take the head arm variation. So on the position again, it's a shoulder control. And one of the things that for me is when I'm in this position is I try and bait so they'll kind of overcompensate, and that allows me to start to turn, at least to have a movement or ability to go. But if Emma keeps the pressure down on my shoulder and I'm posting, and she goes, now think about this way, is wrap 1, wrap 2. So you're not trying to squeeze me up or lift my head up, you're trying to compress so that I'm kind of going belly down, so I'm kind of like, I don't want to go belly down. Okay, space, 1, 2, squeeze. So the important part on the back take is that the knee that's coming under, so we're here, so she goes underneath, 1, 2, from here. As she's taking me back down, I don't want to be here. This knee, right, is going to use like a wedge to kick me over, and the bottom hook's in. So even if I fight from here, she squeezes, and the choke comes on. As far as the submission goes, what everyone does, they treat it like a rear naked choke, a back choke, and they try and squeeze up, and you're giving me space. We're going to treat it so that I'm doing it like a boa constrictor, and I'm crushing down to take the space away. Because if my elbows are to my body and I lift up to the back choke, see the space that I've created? Yeah, where if I kind of take my elbows down to my belt, I'm taking the space away. So it's really important that we understand the concept of the choke mechanic that we're trying to do. But everyone kind of goes, I'll do the choke, and you kind of create more space for me to be able to move instead of taking it away. It's a head-arm choke family of choke, so it's more of a blood choke than an air choke. So a couple of times I've had this done to me yesterday when Emma squeezed, I'm like, yeah, tap, let go, and I had that rush of blood, so I'm like, whoa, you know, so it's, if you're into that, it's kind of fun. But just be very careful with the person that's getting choked, because it's one of those ones that you kind of don't really feel it. No, like you're not right, we're going, I can't breathe, this kind of one's kind of, oh. And for me, everything goes black and white first, and then I'm kind of like, okay, my brain's starting to shut down and you get the tingling. So if you do feel that, it's probably a really good time to tap or count to 3. Okay, Ian, come